Welcome back to the Football Chuggu Podcast. My name is Thomas Durning, and today I am joined by my co-host, Pearse McLaughlin. Hello, Pearse.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well. On today's podcast, we will be reacting to last weekend's English FA Cup results. We'll talk about the passing of Franz Beckenbauer, and at the end of the podcast, Pearse will be giving a rundown of all the latest Asian football news. So last weekend we had the third round of the FA Cup matches. So there's quite a lot to go through, so I'll just quickly go through them, and then at the end of that we'll discuss some of the matches. So we had Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0, Brentford 1, Wolves 1, Fulham 1, Rotherham 0, Tottenham 1, Burnley 0, Maidstone United 1, Stevenage 0, Coventry 6, Oxford United 2, Millwall 2, Leicester 3, AFC Wimbledon 1, Ipswich 3, Sunderland 0, Newcastle 3, Watford 2, Chesterfield 1, Stoke City 2, Brighton 4, Gillingham 0, Sheffield United 4, Blackburn Rovers 5, Cambridge United 2, Newport County 1, Eastleigh 1, Norwich City 1, Bristol Rovers 1, QPR 2, Bournemouth 3, Plymouth Argyle 3, Sutton United 1, Southampton 4, Walsall 0, Hull City 1, Birmingham 1, Sheffield Wednesday 4, Cardiff City 0, Chelsea 4, Preston 0, Swansea 2, Morecambe 0, Middlesbrough 0, Aston Villa 1, West Ham United 1, Bristol City 1, Nottingham Forest 2, Blackpool 2, Luton Town 0, Bolton 0, Peterborough 0, Leeds United 3, Shrewsbury 0, Wrexham 1, West Brom 4, Aldershot Town 1, Man City 5, Huddersfield Town 0, Arsenal 0, Liverpool 2, and last but not least, Wigan Athletic 0, Man United 2. So, as I just said, there was a lot of FA Cup matches there. We're not going to get through them all. So, I don't know if there's a match in there, Pearse, that you liked or that stood out, that stands out to you. Is there? What do you think?
Yeah, there's one that kind of interested me. I watched the was it the QPR 2, Bournemouth 3. And QPR were 2-0 up in the first half. And obviously Scottish striker Lyndon Dykes got the second one. And in the second half, you touched on it quite a lot in this podcast about Areola and the job he's doing at Bournemouth after a sticky little start. He must have gave them a rollicking at half time, because in the second half it was just constant pressure. And former Bournemouth goalkeeper Asmir Begovic, playing for QPR now, had to make some tremendous saves, and eventually the pressure told in the second half, and scored some great goals. And Justin Cliver, I think he got the winner. But no, that was quite an intriguing contest, because obviously Loftus Road was bouncing in the first half, and I think they were shell shocked because they thought, in their 2-0 lead in the FA Cup, you think game's done, we got into the next round, and then the second half, it just the Premier League quality that just showed in the end. And it just showed you the difference between Premier League and the Championship, and for me that was a brilliant game. Yeah, so the other tie would be Sunderland 0, Newcastle 3, and obviously newly appointed Sunderland manager Michael Beale had off to a sticky start in his tenure, and obviously got a couple of decent results in the Championship recently. But obviously you're coming against Newcastle Premier League side. Obviously they've had their struggles recently, Eddie Howe, and even some shot callings for his head, which I think is ridiculous considering where they were only 2-3 years ago under Steve Bruce, toiling at the bottom half of the Premier League. Obviously now get a Premier League top four finish last season, get into Champions League, beat PSG St James's Park. So I think Newcastle fans need some perspective, and on the day they were just too good for Sunderland. But obviously big derby match. Isn't the biggest in the UK. We all know it's Celtic versus Rangers. That's the biggest derby match. Nothing compares. And obviously, Michael Beale's tasted that in Glasgow, and also it's down in Sunderland versus Newcastle. And again, he just fails to win any derby matches. So fair play to him for doing that and being consistent that way. But no, that was the two standout fixtures for me.
I saw there's like, I mean, it's quite hard to go through them all. Maybe you're never going to get through them all. I firstly want to point out Maidstone United 1, Stevenage 0. That's Maidstone. They're the lowest ranked FA Cup team. They're still in the division. They're still, sorry, in the FA Cup. So that's a massive result for them. And for a small club like Maidstone, the money that they'll gain from that. And I'm not sure who they play in the next round, but if it's a glamour tie, then the money that they're going to generate from that's going to be amazing. So congratulations to Maidstone. And actually, Stevenage are doing pretty well. They're quite high up in League One, so that's quite a big result for them.
Is that
Obviously they're like just
George Lacopi's side, the former Wolves defender?
yeah. I saw he used to be the Wolves player, so so he's obviously well known as well. But Maidstone United, big congrats to them, because that's it's always good to see these kind of clubs going far in the FA Cup and other cups as well. So it helps them a lot in terms of future revenue and stuff. So congrats to them. And then you've also got, I just want to briefly touch on what you were just talking about, the Sunderland Newcastle match. We haven't had a Tyneside derby for a long time, quite a good few years now. Before that match, Newcastle hadn't won in the derby in about 11 years. So they had quite a lot to prove. And on the day, it just kind of showed the gap between the two clubs, and also the gap between Premier League and Championship, to be honest, because Newcastle won that match pretty comfortably. They had no real danger or anything. And that's quite a big match for Newcastle as well, because they've not been in a great run of form at all. They've not won many matches. I think it was only like 1 win, 6 maybe. And Eddie Howe was under a bit of pressure, and if he'd have lost that, the pressure would have just went up a whole other level. So for Newcastle to go there and win 3-0, it's brilliant. And also that, I think it's a really good derby. The atmosphere in that derby is always really good. Probably my favourite derby in England. Just in terms of the passion between the two fans. So so obviously that match as well, which is a standout. I just want to briefly touch on Arsenal. Arsenal 0, Liverpool 2. I can't quite believe Arsenal never won that. The chances they had in that match were incredible. They could have been 4 or 5-0 up at half time, and they just didn't take any of their chances. I think Kai Havertz had 3 golden chances, and he just didn't take them. And you could just see it coming. Liverpool were hanging in there, but you could just see it that Liverpool were just going to go on the counter attack or something, or score from a set piece. And the 2 goals come from a set piece and a counter attack, and I wasn't even surprised. I could just see it coming. And a lot of problems at Arsenal at the moment. I think that's their 3rd loss in a row now. They've not had they didn't have a great December. That's them now out the cup. They've lost ground in the Premier League. So there's quite a few issues there at the moment. They're dying for a striker. Like, they really need a top striker in there to come in and create these chances. Say again?
Ivan
Toney, he's one been mentioned quite a lot. I think he did an interview yesterday saying about how much he wants to repay Brentford in terms of sticking up for him and stuff, and kind of standing by him. So I don't know. But if Brentford were to sell him to Arsenal, the money is going to be huge. Brentford will want huge money, and I don't think Arsenal in January. I think I said this last week in the podcast. I don't think you're going to get a striker, top striker in January, unless you're going to pay lots and lots of money. But it is an interesting one for Arsenal, because going back to it, they really need a striker, because they're just creating so many chances and they're just not taking them. And we have to talk about, for me, don't know about you, Pearse, but it's goal of the round, and that's Patrick Bamford's goal in the Leeds United 3, Peterborough 0. I mean, the technique on it was just incredible. You know, such a good goal to watch. We've had quite a good few goals, really good goals this season. You know, had Garnacho's a few weeks ago, Bamford's on Sunday. Just from the top of my head, so we've been quite lucky with goals this season in terms of how good they've been. But that was definitely for me goal of the round. And Patrick Bamford, I thought it was brilliant. And then so obviously there was quite a few draws in there. So the third round replay, so the matches that drew at the weekend, not a lot, but I'll just go through them quickly. So Bolton, Luton, Blackpool, Nottingham Forest, Wolves, Brentford, Bristol Rovers, Norwich City, Birmingham, Hull City, Eastleigh versus Newport County, Bristol City versus West Ham, and Everton versus Crystal Palace. So they matches have to be played again in a replay. The matches will be played in I think it's next week. So so got these matches to still figure out who goes through to the fourth round. So we'll move on to the sad news that on Monday, the 8th of January, it was announced by the family of Franz Beckenbauer that Franz Beckenbauer had passed away. So Franz Beckenbauer was mostly known for playing for Bayern Munich. He'd made 427 appearances and he scored 60 goals. He also won the World Cup both as a player and a manager. He's highly regarded as the best player of all time, best gym player of all time, and he's got the nickname Der Kaiser, which means the Emperor in English. So, Pearse, what's your thoughts about the passing of Franz Beckenbauer?
It's another sad day for world football because I think he wasn't just recognised and adored in Germany, he was recognised the world over, having played in Germany for Bayern Munich, later at Hamburg at the end of his career, and obviously played in MLS with Pele at New York Cosmos. But no, I think people remember him because he created a sweeper role, and he was so calm and composed. The only player I can really compare him to in the modern era would be two players would be Franco Baresi and Paolo Maldini. Players that never really got dirty and physical because at that time when he was playing, the 60s and 70s and 80s, people would kick the lumps at you. There was no shin guards, there was like metal boots, but he was one that just kind of emphasised elegance. And I think he was a defender that he didn't get dirty with shots or top. He only made a tackle when he needed to, and obviously he had the quality, like you said, a defender that scores 60 goals. And I was looking at some of his highlight reels this morning. Some of the goals are outrageous. Free kicks, penalties, runs for about 35, runs for his own half, and then rocketing top corner. I think he was a defender that had a lot. He was really good on the ball, comfortable, tall, strong, physical. I think he was one of these players that was a generational talent, one that was kind of too good for his era, and he kind of moved football forward. So I think that's why people nowadays, like, there's so many ball playing defenders. I think he created that pathway. So it's a very sad day. And obviously we've lost so many icons and heroes of football recently, and I think he's just another one to add to the list. And obviously you mentioned that he won the World Cup as a player and the manager, which is only three people in the world have ever done that, and that is incredible. And as for a defender, he won two Ballon d'Ors, and I think he was the one that got Bayern promoted, and he got the first four Bundesligas for Bayern Munich. So he created that winning mentality at Bayern, and since then they haven't been relegated. So I think that's why in Munich and Bavaria he's regarded as the man, and rightly so. I think he was a tremendous footballer, and it's a sad, sad day for the world of football to lose such an iconic figure.
Yeah, no, totally agree. You know, he was an absolute total legend of football. In my opinion, he was Germany's best ever player. In terms of in terms of football. You know, you were just talking about that. He basically invented the role of the sweeper. You know, because I think he started off as a midfielder, but then he kind of moved into central defence, and you know the kind of way he kind of brought the ball out from the back and stuff. As you said, like back then, football wasn't really like that. It was so different. The ball was up in the air a lot, but he kind of had that kind of elegance. I think he played in the World Cup the year England won. I think that was his breakout moment. I think he was only 20 years old, and he played in that final that England won. You know, and there's a famous story as well about, I think it was the World Cup after that. I'm not sure if it was that World Cup that England won, that Beckenbauer and Bobby Charlton were playing against each other, and Alf Ramsey, who was England manager at the time, told Bobby Charlton for the full match just man mark Beckenbauer, and Beckenbauer was told by his manager to mark Bobby Charlton the full match. So there's quite, because they two were also the star players for both Germany and England, and they were just not involved in the game at all, apparently, because they just both had to man mark each other. So they hardly get any touches of the ball. So that's quite a famous story. He's also Beckenbauer. He's also one of 9 players to have won the World Cup, the European Champions Cup, and the Ballon d'Or, which again is just, you know, it's a brilliant achievement. It really is. You know, yeah, he was just, in terms of Bayern Munich, but like he basically is Bayern Munich. Like Bayern Munich wouldn't be the club they are if it wasn't for him. You know, how much he won for them in terms of German titles and Champions Leagues, European Cups. You know, he did it all in football. You know, just a magnificent player. You know, and he's going to be sadly missed in Germany. Because we were also just at the start, we were discussing the fact that Beckenbauer was one of 3 men to have won the both World Cup as a player and manager, and that was also Didier Deschamps, who's the current France manager, and also Mario Zagallo. And he actually died last Friday as well. So we've kind of lost 2 legends in the space of a few days. So kind of at the moment, Didier Deschamps the only living person to have won both the World Cup as a player and manager. So, but come back to Beckenbauer, it's a really kind of sad day for the world of football. You know, he was a brilliant player, and he's going to be really missed in the world of football and also German football. So for the final part of the show, Pearse will now give his Asian football roundup.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lengthy one today. It's quite a lot of Asian football news to get through. So we'll start off with Japanese club Machida Zelvia have confirmed the signing of Na Sang-ho from FC Seoul, the top goal scorer of the K League Ones for the K League One side last season, in what was a disappointing campaign. But it's definitely a statement signing from the G League One newcomers in their maiden campaign in the G League One, signing a Korean internationalist who has played at the major World Cup finals back in Qatar 2022. Vissel Kobe are not renewing the contract of Juan Mata, who joined the J League One club back in September. Mata played a grand total of 10 minutes back in round 27 and spent the rest of the season either on the bench or out of the squad. Strange decision given his quality. His short spell in Japan is now over, but again, leaves as a champion and will be adored by the fans. Yeah, so Juan Mata then said a goodbye message. Thank you very much to all my teammates and all the people who are part of Vissel Kobe for these unique months with you. It has been an incredibly interesting experience that ended in the best possible way, making history, winning the league for the very first time for our club. I'm really happy to have been a part of your family at such an important moment. That will be remembered forever. I wish you all the very best for the future. Of course, thank you very much to our fans. You are the most special memory of these months, and I'll keep your love and respect with me forever. Incredible people. incredible culture. I've learned so much from you. I'm looking forward to continuing enjoying football somewhere else and hopefully keep winning trophies and let that streak continue. Gracias y vamos, Vissel Kobe. Yeah, so Suwon Samson Blue Wings have appointed young Ki-Hun as a full-time manager of the team following his caretaker stint in charge last season. So the club have now obviously been relegated from the K League 1 to the K League 2, and they've also appointed Park Kyung-Hun as director of football. This is the first time in the club's history that a former player has been appointed as a director. And obviously, sad day in Japan. Yashito Endo, 43, has announced his retirement from professional football after 26 years of playing professional football. A Gambo Saka legend, having amassed 607 games between 2001 and 2021. And he's also a Japan legend, having amassed 152 caps between 2002 to 2015. Played at 3 major World Cup finals in 2006, 2010, and in 2014. Endo will now become a coach at his former club, Gambo Osaka, in the J League 1 after hanging up his boots at his last club, Jubilo Iwata. So it's official. As reported on last week's podcast about the potential move of Yusuke Ideguchi to Vissel Kobe, that has now been confirmed. So he's now left the Scottish champions and he's now joined the Japanese champions for a fee of £850,000. And a message on his Instagram page to all Celtic fans: I'll never forget my memories of Glasgow. Thank you for all of you. I'm cheering you on from Japan. Thank you. So it looks like forgotten Celtic defender Yuki Kobayashi is set to return to the J League 1 and join Yokohama F Marinos. It remains to be seen whether it's a loan with an option to buy, just a straight loan, or a straight option of selling. It's now a move that would see Kobayashi reunited with former Celtic coach and now Yokohama F Marinos manager Harry Kewell. Our Red Diamonds are on the verge of signing Norwegian international Ola Solbakken on loan from parent club AS Roma. He's currently on loan at Greek side Olympiacos, but has only made 3 appearances this season. And a short-term loan move to Japan could be what kickstarts the 25-year-old's career back on track, as he's increasingly looking for minutes on the park. This would be a statement signing for our Red Diamonds, because he was a star player for only a couple of years ago for what was the team again, mate? Solbakken.
Bodo Glimt.
Is it? Aye. So he was a star player for Bodo Glimt, only a few seasons in Europa League. And Celtic fans will know him very well, having terrorised him a little bit. So the Samurai Blue continue to impress in their second last warm-up game before the Asian Cup starts. So they recorded an impressive final victory over Thailand, which means that Japan have now won the last 9 matches, scoring 39 goals and conceding just the 5 goals. So Japan's last 9 matches look like this: Japan 6, El Salvador 0, Japan 4, Peru 1, Germany 1, Japan 4, Japan 4, Canada 1, Japan 2, Tunisia 0, Japan 5, Myanmar 0, Syria 0, Japan 5, and Japan 5, Thailand 0. So Japan will play Jordan, which is currently playing at the time of recording, and it will be a final friendly before the Asian Cup. So Japan kick off their AFC Asian Cup 2023 campaign on Sunday, the 14th of January, as they host Vietnam in the opening Group D game. And South Korea also continue to impress and use the most of their squad in preparation for the Asian Cup kicking off this weekend. So South Korea defeated Iraq by a solitary goal in what was a good test for Klinsmann to get minutes in the lives of his fringe players and rest his key players, who all came on as late second half substitutes. In South Korea's last 6 matches, they have won all 6, scoring 21 goals and conceding 0. An impressive run of form for South Korea, and it will stand them in good stead for when they kick off their Asian Cup 2023 campaign. South Korea host Bahrain on Monday, the 15th of January, as they kick off their Group E campaign. So Gangwon FC have signed a strategic partnership with Spanish La Liga club Sevilla FC. The agreement will strengthen the presence of the Sevilla FC brand in South Korea, while the South Korean club seeks a strategic leap in quality thanks to the experience and knowledge of Sevilla FC. So Sevilla will help the Korean club to learn how to spot young talent in South Korea, provide intensive training programs both in Seville and Gangwon-do for Korean footballers looking to improve their skills and abilities, as well as coaches for different age groups of the club. So Sevilla FC president Jose Maria del Nido Carrasco values the importance of this strategic setup. It is an honour to be able to work hand in hand with Gangwon FC. I'm sure this agreement will help both entities who share a firm commitment to growth based on technological development and young talent to grow. So Gangwon FC president Kim Byung-ji highlighted the impact of this partnership for the K-League One club. Sevilla FC is one of the most important clubs in Europe and the world, and has been able to develop on its own, use its own strategy and philosophy. It has grown to the development of star players to become kings of the Europa League. It is this inspiration for what Gangwon FC intends to do, and I'm sure that this agreement will allow it, and I hope that this cooperation will be long-lasting. And that is all your latest Asian football news.
Thank you, Pearse. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Football Chuggu Podcast. This podcast will be available to listen to on the Football Chuggu YouTube channel and also the Football Chuggu website. Thanks for listening and see you soon.
Bye-bye.